Hi, I'm Hannah Bernard. You're watching Market 1 Minute, and I'm here today with Brett Heath of Metalla Royalty and Streaming. So Brett, let's start off by you giving us a bit of insight into exactly how the royalty and streaming process works.
How the royalty and streaming process works is we don't have to operate any big trucks. We don't have to employ thousands of people. We don't have to build complex processing facilities. We simply own a percentage or an interest in these either producing assets or assets, primarily gold and silver. And a royalty is simply just owning a percentage of the asset or the producing operation. So if it's a 100,000 ounce producer of gold and we have a 1% royalty, we get 1,000 ounces a year annually out of that. A stream is very similar to a royalty, but requires an upfront payment and then an additional payment per ounce that allows you to buy the gold or silver at a below the market price.
There's been a lot of excitement about this sort of way to play the market for investors, but what area of the market are you focusing on?
So we're strictly focused on gold and silver royalties and streams, and we're also strictly focused on transactions between $2 and $10 million in size. And the reason why we do this is really the success of the bigger companies in the space. And as they've become more successful, they've had to continue to increase their transaction size to impact their existing portfolio. And what that's done is it's made things a little bit more competitive at the high end, but at the lower end where we focus on between 2 and 10 million, it's opened up a lot of opportunities and much more attractive returns.
So in addition to this sort of vetting process of the transaction, what differentiates you from your competitors?
So the main thing that differentiates us from our competitors is really how we procure our deals. And it's really just based off a very, very in-depth network of management teams and mining assets that we've built up over the last decade. And really just focusing on this part of the market gives us that edge. We know well in advance before any mining company really picks up the phone to call an investment banker or any type of financing source. And so those relationships is what really drives our growth and our pipeline.
Can you give us some insight into some of the assets or the counterparties that you have within the company right now?
Yeah, so in the short 7 months that we've been around, we've been able to acquire royalties on Goldcorp assets, on Glencore, on Osisko Mining, and Tahoe Resources. Two to take note of are Goldcorp's Hoyle Pond mine, and we have a royalty, a 1% royalty on the extension of that property. Also, Tahoe Resources Timmins West mine, we also have a 1.5% royalty on the extension of that property.
Okay.
We have a 1.5% royalty on the DeSantis mine, which was just purchased by Osisko Mining, and that's up in Timmins. All these royalties that I'm discussing right now are up in Timmins, Ontario. And we just closed our first producing stream.
Brett, we have an investor audience here. Tell us why to invest.
So the main reason why you want to invest and the main value opportunity here is that we're providing investors the ability to invest in a royalty and streaming company at the beginning stage of the company's life cycle, but also the beginning of what we think is the next bull cycle in precious metals. And through these bull cycles is when you really get the most leverage on these new companies where we can grow 100% year over year, where the bigger guys really can't. There's just not enough deal opportunity available to them.
And lastly, how can we invest?
So we trade on the CSE in Canada under the symbol MTA and in the US under the symbol EXCFF on the OTC QB.
Well, it sounds like the right time to invest. Brett, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.